Unity of the Huachucas presents Reverend Charli Tupper.
For those who have ears to hear, listen.
Two men are walking down the sidewalk of a busy city. One was Native American. It's lunchtime, and they're part of a bustling crowd on the sidewalks, and there's traffic on the street, and horns are honking, and there's engines running, and it's kind of noisy, and you can't even really have a conversation. All of a sudden, the Native American stops and goes, "Hear that? A cricket." And the man looks at him and says, "What?" He says, "Yeah, a cricket." And he pulls apart the bushes, and they look in, and sure enough, there's a cricket, and it's just chirping away. And the man looks at his Native American friend and says, "How did you know that that cricket was there? How did you hear that amongst all this noise?" And the Native American says, "It's how I was trained to hear all my life, throughout my life. This is how I was trained to hear." And he says, "Watch this." And he pulled a bunch of coins out of his pocket, dimes, nickels, quarters, and he drops them on the ground. And when he drops them on the ground, everybody stops and listens. I'm not sure exactly where that story comes from. What I love about it is it points out how we are trained to listen. We are trained to listen. And we're trained from early on. And we're either trained to listen for what is good or more skewed toward the what's going wrong, what's wrong with me, what's wrong with the other person, what's wrong with the circumstance that I'm in. Needing to fix, needing to fix, needing to fix. The good news is that if you're one of those, like I have been and sometimes can still be, caught in that negative train, it's like it really is like a train. You get on it and it starts with one little thought and then another little thought and then another little thought, and it starts building momentum, and building momentum. We can stop it. We can stop it at any time that we choose to. Because the one thing that we have the power to do is to change our mind. We have the power to change our thoughts. Now, this doesn't happen instantaneously, and it's not necessarily really super easy. It takes diligence, it takes perseverance. But when we persevere in changing our thoughts, we open ourselves up to an entirely new experience. An experience where, in the midst of everything that's going on around us, we hear the cricket. We hear that simplicity, the beauty that is all around us. On different occasions, Jesus would begin teaching by saying, "For those who have ears to hear, let them hear." So is Jesus implying that some people don't have ears and that other people have ears? Or what ears is he referring to? There's a spiritual law And the spiritual law is as above, so below, as within, so without. I loved it. There's a New Thought teacher that I went to see once, and he began by saying, we have outer ears because we have inner ears. Now, we commonly think about the fact that we have an inner eye. You know, we have the third eye. We have that inner eye, and that inner eye is the power of insight and intuition. But our inner ears are the powers of inspiration and our ability to discern what we hear and make a choice as to whether it's worth hearing. So I'll just give an example. An example might be that if I'm thinking about how I can't do something, I can't do that. I don't have the skills, or I don't have the money. Somewhere I'm lacking. But what this says is, I have a choice. And how do I make that choice? And how do I create that changed mind? That's where the power of affirmative prayer comes in. When we listen, when we listen within our hearts and we hear a deeper truth, we affirm it. See, that's really what affirmation is about. Affirmation is about affirming the truth. It's not about affirming what I want. It's about affirming the truth. And so in this case, maybe what the truth is as within, so without. I have inner ears. And I discern what is worthy to be heard. I am open to hearing the truth. I am open and willing to hear the truth. So why do we put so much emphasis on affirmation? Actually, we have an affirmation that we did earlier today. And that is, I'm going to come to it here in just a second. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. I hear her voice and am empowered by his strength. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. I hear her voice and I am empowered by his strength. Say that with me and really mean it. Really own it. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. I hear her voice and am empowered by his strength. When we affirm statements like this, and not just once, we affirm them over and over and over, because how do we remember something? And how do we create a new groove in our mind, in our thinking? We have to repeat it. It needs to become part of who we are. It has to become a part of our experience. It has to become a part of the building blocks that we are using to build this, to build a foundation of our that we stand upon spiritually. Let me tell you a story about a foundation. This is Jesus in Luke 6. It's following the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus says, I will show you what someone is like who comes to me, hears my words, and acts on them. That one is like a man building a house who dug deeply and laid the foundation on rock. When a flood arose, the river burst against the house, but could not shake it because it had been well built. He didn't say if the river rises. He says when the flood arose. And metaphysically, we might think of that flood as the circumstances that feel like they have that power kind of pushing against us. What are those circumstances that feel like they have this enormous energy? We may even be facing circumstances that shake us to our core. But Jesus says, for those who have ears to hear, let them hear. And act upon them. So it's not just enough to walk around going, I am prosperous, 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 I am prosperous. We have to act upon that belief. We have to put the foot forward and take action. As we take action, it is cemented even more in our mind. Oh, you believe this? There's a phrase in 12-step programs, and it goes, and when it talks about being willing, sometimes somebody will say, I don't think I'm willing. Okay, so are you willing to be willing? Are you willing to open yourself up just as much? You can't jump off the high dive. That's okay. But can you open up just this much? Can you put your toe in the water? Put your toe in the water and affirm something that is beyond what you currently think. Exercise your power of faith. Take yourself to that next level, whatever that level is. Because wherever that level is, God will meet you there. Wherever that is, God will meet you there. You are God's beloved. And God will not abandon you. God cannot abandon you. God is everywhere present all of the time. And we have that power within us to open ourselves to hear. To truly hear and to celebrate. And to celebrate the answers that we receive. Now, those answers, the things that we hear, they may show up in any myriad of different ways. A common thing to say is you might see something on television, or you might hear something on the radio, or you might whatever. You might hear it within your own heart. You might hear it within your own ears. So we open ourselves. We open ourselves to being able to see where the answers to our questions are coming from. Because when Jesus was talking to these people about building their faith and listening, it's because they had questions. They wanted to know, how do we do this? He said, listen. Learn to listen. In James, it says, but be doers of the word and not merely hearers, who deceive themselves. For if any are hearers of the word and not doers, they are like those who look at themselves in a mirror. For they look at themselves, and on going away, immediately forget what they look like. But those who look into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and persevere, being not hearers who forget, but doers who act, they will be blessed in their doing. Sometimes we need to step out in faith. Sometimes we need to just take that step. That step that will say, I believe this is possible. I'm willing to believe this is possible. And it's each little step that we take that leads us to a deeper understanding of who we are, who we have come here to be, and how we show up and do that. Now, I want to say that who we are is a wide, diverse, eclectic group of creation. We are not all the same. And so what I hear and is right for me may not be what you hear and is right for you. And that's good. Our strength is in our diversity. I'm going to say that again. Our strength is in our diversity. So we choose to be strong in our diversity by listening to each other. This is another aspect that is really important. As we learn to listen, we can open ourselves up to listen to each other. And to actually hear what the other person is saying. It doesn't mean we change our mind. It doesn't mean that we change theirs. That's not what it's about. It's about understanding. It's about compassion. It's about being doers of the word by listening. So let's take this into meditation. I want to just invite you to settle in. Settle into this moment. Allowing yourself to bring yourself present. And I want to invite you to focus on your ears. Those ears. And I want you to just bring your awareness to your inner ears. You may hear a humming or feel a vibration. But just allow your inner ears to open. And to take in these words of Meirul. I have been with you from the beginning of time. I shall continue to be with you throughout eternity. If you will but tune your ear to listen to me, I will guide you safely through every experience of your life. No matter how many times you may have stumbled along the way, I have forgiven you and put you back on your feet. I surround you with my love so that you may have a feeling of security. I am the loving Christ Spirit within you. Let me heal your mind and your body. Let me heal your heart when something troubles you. Turn your anxieties and your fears over to me. I will give you peace. I will harmonize and adjust all your reactions to life's experiences. You need not worry or fret. Go happily on your way. Accept me as the constant loving presence with you, and I will not fail you. Learn of me. Trust me. Listen to me. I have been with you from the beginning of time. I shall continue to be with you throughout eternity. I am the loving Christ within you. I invite you just to take a moment and feel the love of God around you, to feel the love of God within you. To allow that healing energy to radiate through all aspects of your being. You are an expression of the divine oneness. Whole, holy, harmonious. And so it is. Just take a moment to breathe. You may not want to just rush back really quick. So I invite you to just really take a moment to breathe and to know in this moment that you are loved beyond measure.